Am I audible or not? Class,
Yes,
am I
ma'am.
audible? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what did I do? Okay. So in the last class lecture, actually, we've studied various, I think, smaller topics like last class में क्या क्या पढ़ा था? Hmm, I think we studied this keyword, final keyword, and okay. So give me the list of topic that we covered in last lecture. I'm not able to recall, so that I can do a quick summary. टॉपिक क्या क्या पढ़ा था मुझे बताओ ताकि मैं एक क्विक समरी कर दूं.
Ma'am, overriding
Okay, overriding. Yes, yes, very important. I
final
think
final
final. Okay. Thank you, Subhas. So, class, in the last lecture we studied overriding. Okay, we found that the overriding is quite similar to overloading. Okay, very good, Rashmi. Thank you so much. I think overriding we started with inheritance. Okay, overriding का हमें inheritance से start किया था. Inheritance, I told you that inheritance is of many types: single level, multi level, hierarchical, and multiple. ओके. रश्मि, इनहेरिटेंस लास्ट लेक्चर में पढ़ा या उससे पहले पढ़ा? Class, did we study inheritance in last lecture or it was before last lecture? Last time inheritance overriding सब पढ़ा था. Class, am I audible? Last class. Okay. Others, what's wrong
Yes,
with others? I'm gonna
ma'am.
call your name to check if you guys are listening or not. Anita,
yes,
are you
ma'am.
there? Okay. Thank you. Okay, try to be interactive. Okay, वरना बहुत सारे टॉपिक है, फिर बाद में आपको समझ नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि बहुत अब तो since quite like 8 to 9 lectures we have started with the concepts of Java OOP. So if you not try to follow, like in future you will, I'll be teaching you networking. Okay, so in networking if you'll not be able to follow up, it's okay, you get the notes, you read, you'll understand. But in Java, after initial lectures, if you'll not follow up, it's okay, you can understand the first unit. But the second and the third unit, it's very important to follow up the lectures. Otherwise, yes, you can learn from the videos, okay, but it will be difficult. So if you listen to lecture, clarify your doubts, discuss in the classroom, it will be very easy, even for you, even for those who are struggling to learn programming, okay, who are struggling to understand OOP concepts. And it will be very much helpful to you in your final semester project. जब आप फाइनल सेमेस्टर, फिफ्थ सेमेस्टर में प्रोजेक्ट है, सिक्स सेमेस्टर में प्रोजेक्ट है, if you will understand the concept of programming, OOP based programming, it will be very helpful. So थोड़ा सा कुछ और लेक्चर्स लाइक 9 to 10 लेक्चर्स तक और फॉलो अप करो. उसके बाद फिर जो लास्ट यूनिट है, इट्स मोर थ्योरेटिकल, फिर उसमें ठीक है, इट्स ओके अगर आप उतना फॉलो अप नहीं कर पाओगे तो. So in the last lecture we started with inheritance. We found that OOP supports four type of inheritance, out of which three is there in Java, one is not directly there, that is a multiple inheritance. So for multiple inheritance, to implement multiple inheritance in Java, we have a technique called as interfaces, and today we will learn interfaces. Okay, so other than multiple inheritance, whether it is single level, okay, whether it is single level, okay, multi-level, multi-level, or hierarchical inheritance, whichever type of there are four. Okay, there are four, and there is also multiple. Okay, in all of these three types of inheritance, we learned that for every subclass, there is one and only one there is one and only one base class. हमने पढ़ा कि whether it is single, multi-level or hierarchical, for every subclass there is one and only one base class. And we saw for single level, we saw one code. For multi-level, we saw one code. For hierarchical, I showed in I think either in one or multi-level में ही मैंने hierarchical को थोड़ा change करके बता दिया था. Okay, so these were the three techniques that we learned. And then after we learned these three topics with the help of program for each one of them, we tried to explore overriding. Okay, we found that overriding is done in methods. We don't do overriding of class. We do overriding only of methods. Okay, no overriding of class, only overriding of methods. We also do overloading. Overloading भी होता है. But overloading is again of method. Overloading भी method का है. Overriding भी it's of method. But overloading happens within a class. Okay, within a class, overriding happens between classes. Between classes. Okay, so when we do overloading, what is the difference? When we do overloading, either number of arguments are different, or type of method is different. But in method overriding, number of argument has to be same, type of arguments has to be same. Okay, so now in overloading, the content of first method is not overridden by the second. That means both of them are executed. In overriding, the content of first is overridden by the content of second method. If you want the content of first to be displayed, you have to do a special provision. How do you do that? With the help of keyword super. So for that again, this one and for this one, we did one program. पहला program किया overriding को दिखाने के लिए. After that, I made minute changes in the program of overriding and I showed you how can we execute the first method with the help of super if we want to display the content of the first. So this is what we have studied in the last lecture. So if everything from last lecture is clear, write down in the chat box clear by at least 3 of the students so that I can proceed with today's topic. Or else if anyone has any doubt, ask me. Okay, so ask me so that I'll clarify your doubts. I will wait for 3 clear to get started. Okay, thank you, Rajesh, Rashmi, and Shivangi. Okay, so other than that, inheritance, single level, multi level, your overriding, your this keyword to refer to that same object, to refer to the same object A. Okay, with this keyword, and then finalize. I think finalize. I'm not able. If I missed anything, you can tell me. Okay, finalize is for your finalize method is to make sure everything. I think we've also studied the final one. Final means if you declare any variable as final, suppose final integer a equals to 2, that means it cannot be overridden. Throughout that program, the value of a will be fixed. There is no mechanism by which you can update the value of 2. Okay, so this is what we have studied. And then finalize also we studied. I told you that finalize is the opposite of constructor. It is used, the method finalize at the end of each class is used to make sure all the non-object based resources are being cleared. Okay, all the non-object based resources are being cleared. So this is the opposite of your constructor, you can say. Okay, so in today's class we are going to talk about abstract class. Okay, I told you that if you declare any variable, let us say integer a equals to pi, let us say equals to 2.14, you have done, or you have void get method and you have done something here. Okay, but now you have mentioned both of these as final variable or final method. That means you are making sure that overloading or overriding is not possible. Okay, whether it is over of loading or overriding, it is not possible because you have declared this method variable or method as your final. That means you are making sure inheritance is not possible. Inheritance is not possible. But with abstract class, what we are doing is, here we are making sure overriding or inheritance is not possible, or updating is not possible for that particular variable or method. But with abstract class, we make sure overriding is done. Abstract class का मतलब ये होता है कि overriding हम उसको compulsory बना देते हैं. Okay, actually it should not just be abstract class, because abstract method is also possible. So let me update the heading as abstract class and abstract methods. Okay, so let me read out, tell you the definition. Okay, then we will go into the example. What, like abstract means what? Abstract means the smallest version or the smallest idea of your overall thing. For example, when you do projects in your when you write your projects, when you prepare for your seminar, when you do your presentation, you have an abstract. What do you have in your abstract? In your abstract, you have the summary type of your working. Okay, so same is the abstract class or methods. Abstract class or methods means you only listen carefully, you only declare, but you do not execute. You only declare, but you do not execute. Why? Because it is an abstract class or method. That means it has no execution body. Okay, इसका सिर्फ definition है. There is only declaration or definition, whatever you would like to call, declaration or definition, but it does not have any execution or, let us say, implementation. That is called as abstract class. So in abstract class, we make sure inheritance is done, okay, and overriding becomes compulsory. It is also, your abstract class is also called as your runtime. It also is a runtime dynamic binding, because the abstract class or the abstract method is binded to the main class during the runtime. During compile time, it is just compiled. It does not execute, but it executes only when the main class executes. Okay. So now there was one more thing I should have told. I think I forgot something. Abstract class में होता है. Okay, so अगर याद आया बताते बताते कुछ मिस किया है तो I'll tell you. Okay, so let's see how does it look like now with the help of a program code. Okay, with the help of a program code. Now we are going to see one program. Okay, so if it's a class that you want to declare as abstract, or if it's a method that you want to declare as abstract, you must first write the term abstract in small letters. Okay, so when you declare a class as abstract, that means now I have a class named shape. Let us call this class name shape. Okay, and I've declared this as abstract. The moment you declare a class as abstract, that means it is not a wholesome class. That means, listen carefully, you cannot create an object of this class to execute this class, क्योंकि ये फुल फ्लेजेड क्लास नहीं है, ये क्लास का एक छोटा सा एब्स्ट्रैक्ट वर्जन है. That means if you want to execute this class, you must create another class so that you can execute this class with the help of another full-fledged class. Then why do we need something like this? When you create packages, for example, we have used IO package multiple times. Okay, buffered reader मैंने दिखाया था, there we used IO package. But when you do the parsing, you have to create an object of the buffered reader class. Okay, so आप वहां पे buffered reader का you create an object, then you call all the necessary methods. Okay, then only it gets executed. That means everything has been declared as an abstract version of that in that package. So whenever you need anything, you create an object of it and then you execute it. Okay, so abstract means it only has an abstract version. It's a small part of the class, but it is not a full-fledged class. Okay, so I've created an abstract class here. Okay, so let me create a method here. Void, let us create, let us say I want, this is a shape, so let us say I want to draw something. Okay, I want to draw something. Now listen carefully. With this example I'll tell you why do we need abstract class. See here, I have declared a class. Now the name of the class is shape and I want to draw something. Okay, sorry, I want to draw something. Okay, so now if this shape could be a square, this shape could be a circle, this shape could be a rhombus, any form of quadrilateral this shape could be, and I should be able to draw any type of this shape. Okay, so with this shape I've just declared and labeled. So when user wants to draw any type of shape, it can just call this one, it can directly call this one with, so that with by overriding with the necessary content. Okay, by overriding with the necessary content we fulfill our purpose. Okay, so now if I am declaring, now I have this abstract class shape. So now this void draw can have something. Okay, let us say I am writing something here. I'm writing something here. An abstract class, listen very carefully. An abstract class can have both a non-abstract method. Listen carefully. An abstract class can have both non-abstract method or an abstract method. If it's an abstract method, then you cannot have the body of that abstract method. If it's an abstract method, you cannot have the body of this method. So you will close it here. यहाँ तक कोई confusion class? Any confusion till here? I'm trying to go slow. Any confusion? If yes, write down yes, I'll repeat. If no, write down no.
No, ma'am.
Okay, I need at least 3 no's. Thank you, Shivam. Thank you. I think it was Rizwana. Okay, thank you, Rajesh. Okay. Okay. So now an abstract class can have both abstract method and non-abstract method. Now listen carefully. If it's an abstract method, the class must be an abstract class. A class with non-abstract, abstract method cannot be in a non-abstract class. आप अगर एक abstract method कर रहे हो तो एक non-abstract class में एक abstract method नहीं हो सकता. If you want to have an abstract method, that class must be declared as abstract. लेकिन अगर आपका class abstract है तो आपके पास abstract method या फिर ये मैंने क्लास बंद कर दिया और मेरे पास क्या भी हो सकता है, I can have both. I can have both like this. I can have an abstract method. I can have a non-abstract method. I can have them both. ओके सो इसको सिंपल रखने के लिए अभी मैं सिर्फ एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट मेथड कर रही हूँ again abstract method is terminated by a semicolon, it is not executed, so we close here. Also it will not have a pair of parentheses. Now because it has been declared abstract, to execute it we need to perform inheritance. Okay, so let us create a class named rectangle. Okay, class name rectangle. Okay, and let us extend this class named shape. Okay, now I have this void draw. I'm going to override it and draw this rectangle, display the content of this rectangle. Okay, so now system.out.print sorry, I am drawing a rectangle. Okay, I am drawing a rectangle. So I close it. Okay, I close this method and I also close the class. See here. Oh, मैंने override नहीं किया ना. Sorry, I need to override it. Now I need to override the method, so I don't write abstract here. So I only write void draw exactly like the way I had a verb. Okay. Now I overrided this draw method. Now with this draw method, I'm displaying a rectangle. So let us display one more. You can also have your formula to calculate values, variables, everything, integer a, b, area equals to a into b. I'm drawing a rectangle. यहाँ पे area कुछ भी कर सकते हो आप. Okay, I'm just going shortcut. So now I have a class named rectangle. I've extended this shape, and with this one I'm displaying the content of the rectangle. Okay, so let me do one more class here. Let me do one more class here. Let me create one more shape. Let us say circle. Okay, I have a class named circle. I'm extending this class named shape because it has draw. Okay, shape. Now I'm going to again override the draw method, but now this time with draw I am going to draw the area. Let me write down here. Here also you do the area. Okay, the area of the circle is that I'm displaying the area of the circle here. With what now? With again the draw method. Okay, see here with draw method here I am displaying the area of rectangle. With the same draw method here, by overriding I'm displaying the area of the circle here. Okay, so now let us execute. Class, my favorite class name, class sample public static void main string arg. Now you need to pay attention here. Okay, अभी यहाँ पे attention pay करो. See here, this class is, what is the name of this class? The name of this class is shape. But this shape, everything, this draw method here belongs to the class here. But this class shape is an abstract method. I told you we cannot instantiate an object of this class. Why? Why? Because it itself is not a wholesome class. So how do we create an object? how do we create an object of this class so that all the methods that belong to this class is executed yet be able to instantiate it? क्योंकि create करके सिर्फ declare करके object तो run होगा नहीं, उसको instantiate भी करना पड़ेगा. So how do we do both? Declare the class of this one and also let that object be executable. So for that, what do we do is I write shape, the name of the object is equals to the new operator. Okay, the new operator, and which class do we want to execute? If rectangle, I write here rectangle like this. Okay, rectangle like this. So now I do s dot draw. So with this rectangle will be executed. Okay, with this only the draw method of rectangle will be executed. Why? Because you have instantiated this s with this rectangle class. But now if you want to execute this draw as well, then what do you need to do? Then थोड़ी देर के लिए इसको मिटा देती हूँ. Shape, you create one more object, new, but now this s1 को इससे instantiate करो so that you can execute this class as well. Okay, so I do here circle. Okay, so now with s I execute this method. With s1 I execute the other function from the other class. I close the main function, I close the class. So now this one will give you the output. The area of the rectangle is, rectangle का area calculate करके, the area of the circle is by calculating the area of the circle. So this is an abstract class. Okay, this abstract class can have its own method. If this extra abstract class had its own method, okay, इसमें अगर आपको same method है तो क्या होगा, उसको execute कैसे करेंगे? So now for that is your lab in. But before that, is this clear class? Is this clear abstract class? How to override, execute, instantiate, execute the object of the abstract class? Class, is it clear? Okay, thank you, Ram. Okay, so I've got 3 yeses. Okay, so now let me give you the मैं Java lab का कहाँ पे लिखते थे m. Okay, so बीच में जो दिया है वो मैं बाद में यहाँ पे कॉपी कर लूँगी, but because I need to write here. So what is the number of lab program that we are running? क्योंकि बीच का मैं सिर्फ screenshot लेके रखते थे. How many programs till now? 12. Okay, so today is gonna be 13. Thank you, Rashmi. So 13. Okay. What we will do is, because I showed you an example of this shape, we are going to do that same thing. Okay, we are going to do the same thing. So write a Java program to calculate the area of square, circle, क्यूब वगैरह के लिए वो होगा, वॉल्यूम होगा. ओके, let me write down, calculate the area / volume of square, circle, cube, rectangle and sphere using implementing abstract class with both abstract methods and non-abstract methods. So now you will write a program to calculate calculate. Now you write a Java program to calculate the area of different shapes. Okay, different shapes. You will do this with the help of abstract class. Now your abstract class must have one abstract method and one at least एक abstract method तो होना ही पड़ेगा और एक non abstract method भी होना पड़ेगा. So with this you will see how to, अगर non abstract method है तो how will you execute it? You will see, you'll execute and you'll submit. Okay, so this is it. Okay, class, is the aim taken? Aim ले लिया था? Yes. Can I move with the next topic now? If abstract class is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now class, now till now what I have been doing is, what we have been studying is inheritance. अभी तक हम inheritance में ही है. Okay, till now we are in inheritance only. So in inheritance we studied many things. Okay, in inheritance the first thing that we learned is how to perform inheritance with the help of keyword extends. The syntax. Okay, then we learned that there are 4 types of inheritance. We learned that 3 types of inheritance is very simple because all of them has one and only one base class. It has only one base class for each derived class. Okay, but then now the 4th one, okay, all the 3 was okay, 3, but the 4th one was complicated. The 4th type was complicated. Why? Because this makes more than one base class. 4th type is your multiple inheritance. Okay, so after this what we learned is, we learned the keyword super, we learned the keyword this for making the programming easier. Okay, then with inheritance we learn how, if we are performing similar type of operation, if we are performing addition in or calculation of marks percentage in each class, then why give different name to methods in different class? Why not use the same name? So for that we studied overriding. For execution again we studied the super, we studied for inheriting the property of variables and methods here. Now in overriding we used super for making sure the previous ones are executed. Okay, and then here we studied final. This is like making the constant unchangeable. Then we studied the opposite of constructor, that is your finalize. This is what we have been studying so far. So what we're going to study next is your multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. So now multiple inheritance is implemented with a concept called as interface. We also studied here abstract classes. We learned that abstract can be class or methods, but whatever it is, they do not have the implementation body. खुद का implementation body नहीं होता है. So to make them execute, we need to override them, we need to inherit them. But an abstract class can have a full-fledged method. एक मेथड हो सकता है जिसका full-fledged executable body हो. An abstract class can have its other body part that can execute. That is what we studied. But still, it is an abstract version of the class. It is not a full-fledged class. Now, why am I repeating it? It's because your interface is also the same. Your interface does not have an executable body. There is minute difference between an interface and an abstract class. Okay, क्या है, कैसे है, I'll teach interface now, but on your image, I'll also highlight the difference between these two because it has been asked number of times, so many times in the exams in different forms, in so many competitive exams, because often students ignore the small differences. That is what makes them very special in Java. Abstract classes are also used to perform data hiding, to hide the complex coding part. Okay, interface is used to implement the concept of multiple inheritance. When we have more than one base class, how do we inherit property from all the base class? For that we have interfaces. Okay, so now we are going to study interface. Okay, now we are going to study interface. Let me check your chat box if I've received any request. Okay, none. So now I'm going with your interface. Okay, एक मैंने इंटरफेस का बहुत ही अच्छा निकाल के रखा था आप लोगों के लिए. Okay, now listen, your interface. Okay, your interface implements your multiple inheritance. Okay, so when you inheritance means multiple inheritance भी inheritance ही हुआ. So we do, if I have a class A and if I have class B. Now when I want to extend the property of A in B, what I do, I use the keyword extends. I use the keyword extends A. So this makes it class. Now if I want to declare this class as abstract, what do? I write the keyword abstract. Similarly, if you want to create an interface, okay, if you want to create an interface, what do? See here, for abstract, you wrote the keyword abstract. Sorry, you wrote the keyword class. क्योंकि आप वो class ही है खुद, उस class को आप abstract बना रहे हो. But when we do the interface, when we create this A as an interface, now A is not a class. For abstract, A is a class, but it is the abstract version of a class. But an interface is not a class, an interface is interface only. So we write the keyword interface. Interface A. So now A is created. Now because when it was, and let me when it was, let us say class C, and I declare it as an abstract. Okay, so abstract class C. Here C is still a class, though abstract C is still a class. That's why it can have, let us say I have here void display. अगर ये abstract नहीं है, then I can have a body of it. Why? Because still, though abstract version, it is still a class. So it can have an executable, full-fledged executable method with a body. But now because A here is not a class, but it is an interface, it cannot have any method with any executable code. It can only have methods declaration. It cannot have any body like this. Okay. Now, again, because A is an interface, in Java, everything is an object. Object belongs to class. ओके अगर एक क्लास एब्स्ट्रैक्ट होने की वजह से हम उसके ऑब्जेक्ट को इंस्टेंशिएट नहीं कर पाए, देन इट इज नॉट एट ऑल अ क्लास, इट इज जस्ट एन इंटरफेस. इंटरफेस क्या होता है? इफ इवन इन आवर डे टू डे लाइफ, दिस इज योर एप्लीकेशन लेयर. यहाँ पे आपका ये एक सॉफ्टवेयर है. Okay, so this is software paint 3D. So this is an interface. This page here is an interface so that I can interact with the computer. It is not a full-fledged one. Full-fledged तो ये software है. इसने एक ये नोट पैड जैसा ये स्पेस दिया है. इट इज एन इंटरफेस so that I can interact with this software. This MS Office, the whole MS Office is a software. When I open it, it is an interface for me to interact with this MS Word. But this entire with all this component, this is an MS Word. So ये जो space है, this is a interface. So interface एक छोटा सा component होता है. It is not a full fledged of anything. If it's a software, it's not a full fledged software. It is just an interface, means a medium to interact. Similarly, it's a medium to declare, but it cannot again execute on its own. To execute an interface, again we need a class. Okay, so this is what is in interface. Okay, and this is the difference. मैं बता रही हूँ बार बार class और interface में different. Now the next difference is but now because A is an interface, we cannot use an extend. What we have to use is for interface we cannot extend the property because it does not have any property of its own. Okay, it does not has any property of its own. Okay, so we have to implement it now. Implements, we use the keyword implements A. Class B will not, it has no property to extend. Class B is there to make interface execute. So execute को हम क्या भी बोलते हैं, अब इसको implement कराना है A को. So class B will now implement interface A. Is it clear? Interface का definition, syntax enough? Can I move ahead? If yes, write down yes. If any doubt, raise your query. अगर yes, तो at least 3 people write down yes. Why interface is necessary? Okay, Rajesh, I'll come to you. Okay, so I've got only one query, or the others are okay. So now it's a very good question, Rajesh, that why do we need an interface then? We need an interface because we cannot do multiple inheritance in Java. So interface ही क्या बनाया गया है, हम multiple inheritance किया जाए इसलिए. तो इसका मतलब है जब मैंने आपको वो बताया क्लियर नहीं हुआ, स्टिल आई विल एक्सप्लेन. ओके, तो जब सिंगल लेवल है, दिस इज माय बेस क्लास, और लेट मी राइट डाउन पेरेंट क्लास, मे बी देन इट विल बी मोर इजी फॉर यू. When it's a single level inheritance, I have here parent class, I have here child class. Child is extending the property of parent. Okay, when it's multi-level inheritance, I have here parent, I have here child. So child is again extending the property of parent. Now again child, now this child is extending another, let us say this one is your C, this is your she dash. So it is extending, C1 is extending the property of C. So for C1, your child is the parent again. Let me write down, it is also. Now this C is also the parent for C dash. That means even here for this child there is only one base class. For this child again there is only one base class. This child one base class. Again hierarchical. Hierarchical means this is my parent. There are multiple child, like you are 3 siblings. Okay, let us consider you are 3 siblings. Rojesh, I'm just going to make random name. Okay, so this is Rojesh, this is Pojesh, this is Kojesh. So they are 3 siblings, but they have a common parent. So they will inherit all 3 siblings will inherit the property of that common parent. Still, all the child has only one base class. But what if we have a situation What if we have a situation wherein we have more than one base class? For example, like this. This is one base class. This is another base class. Okay, and I have here one or more than one child. One or more than one child. But in this case, this child is inheriting the property of this parent, and it also has another parent class. That means in this case, this child has more than one base class. In this case, this child has more than one base class. If you'll see here, C dash, this one. So this child has only one base class. So this is not multiple inheritance, but here it is multiple inheritance. Why the term multiple? Because it has multiple base class. Why the term multiple? Here it's only label is multi-level. बहुत सारे label है, but base class still same. But here it's not label. We are not talking about label. We have multiple parents here. So when we have multiple inheritance in Java, Java does not allows class C extends. Java does not allows class C extends P, comma P1. Java does not allow this because earlier to Java like C++, C++ is a very complex programming. जब execution होता है compiler को बहुत time लगता है because of various things like this, because of pointer, it is complex for compiler, because of multiple inheritance, because of various jumping statements like go to, etc. अच्छा, मैंने आपको jump शायद पढ़ाया. Did I teach you jump statement? Class, did I teach you jump statement? Yes sir, no? No, okay. So मैं भूल गई jump पढ़ाना. मैं किसी example में बीच में एक दिन jump डाल दूंगी. Just like the way I used final abstract and all. Okay. That is used for jumping. So we do not have go to, because all this makes the program lose its flow. इसमें क्या होगा? It was extending P1. Now from P1 it has to jump to P1. So Java follows one rule very strictly: flow of execution. It does not believe in jumping like this. Here, यहाँ पर भी जा रहा है, वहाँ पर भी जा रहा है, like this. Java does not do that, but C++ and all does that. So jumping on the line above or below makes the execution complex to handle, and it also consumes lot of space. So we do not have this. But because Java does not has this, does not mean we may not come across the problem situation where we have such problems that there is a child. Let us say a child, now you want to change the pin of your ATM. This class has the pin of your ATM. You want to change it. So this, let us say, this class has the ATM pin. Okay, now you've forgotten your pin. So to change the pin in internet banking, what do you need? You need account number. So let us say account number is there in this class P. You also need your profile. If you use SBI, you know profile password, but you may not use SBI. So let us say yes, to change ATM pin using online banking, what do you do? What do you need to know? You need to know your username and password for your login credentials. You need to log into your online banking. So you need the password of your online banking, and later on it will ask you for account number. So let us say this class holds all the basic informations like your name, your account number, your phone number, your address. Basic information is there in this class. Okay, and all the online banking related credentials like your transaction password, your online banking password, your username, your ATM pin, everything is here. So in this case, to change the ATM pin, it is asking you for account number and your password. So account number is there here in one class and password is here in the other class. So how does this class C now? How does this class C extracts the property from these two? So then now we do not have multiple inheritance in Java. So there comes the need of multiple inheritance. जो आपका question था, I think it was Rajesh. Why interface is necessary? So in such situation, interface is necessary. So what do we do now? We do class C implements. What does it implement? Now class C है, ये दोनों class को implement कराता है. See here, inheritance actually is inheriting the property, but here because we do not have multiple inheritance, बहुत सारे बेस क्लास से प्रॉपर्टी इनहेरिट करने का टेक्निक हमारे पास नहीं है. तो अगर हम प्रॉपर्टी इनहेरिट नहीं कर पा रहे तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? हम अपने बहुत सारे बेस क्लास को अपने क्लास में इम्प्लीमेंट करा सकते हैं. So that is what it does. So I have interface A, I have interface B, I have interface P, I have interface P1. So I wrote a class C. Now in this class, I will implement this two. So I'll implement P, comma P1. So the moment I'll implement these two, whatever is in here will come here in this particular class. So this way I will get the information about all these credentials and also the credential that is there in the parent P1. So this is why we need multiple inheritance. So Rajesh, is it clear now? And others also, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now Ridhiman is asking, abstract is more faster than interface. Ridhiman, अगर मुझे for this one there is no what to say one single answer. Okay, but if you want to hear like इसी का जानना है मैम, तो no, it's not faster. Why? Because abstract is still a class and class एक भारी चीज होता है. But interface is not a class, it is just an interface. For example, MS Word is an office. MS Office is MS Word is a software. Okay, MS Word is a software. This notepad here, MS Word, this editor here is an interface. So obviously this one, यहाँ पे लिखना is faster than opening this entire software. So what can I say? Now this interface is faster than this abstract class. ये Java, ये जो Word file है, ये Word file is an abstract class of MS Office. MS Office एक software class है, MS Word एक abstract है, okay, abstract है, और ये वाला जो editor है ये interface है मेरा. So we can say that interface is faster than abstract. Why? Because abstract is still a class, but interface is not a class. Okay, लेकिन फिर भी हम अगर अब lines of code में जाएंगे, if your interface has like 100 methods, your interface has 100 methods, abstract has only one method. In that case, abstract is faster. लेकिन अगर हम content wise equal है, then interface will be your faster, because for abstract, again for abstract, at least you have a chance if it is an abstract class. For example, I have abstract class A. At least you have a chance, class A. At least you have a chance, you can do AA, you can at least create an object of this one. But in interface, because it is not at all a class, ये तो at least a version of class है, but this is not a class, it is an interface, so we cannot do this one. इंटरफेस का तो ऑब्जेक्ट भी क्रिएट नहीं हो सकता. कैसे होगा? ऑब्जेक्ट तो क्लास का होता है, इंटरफेस तो ऑब्जेक्ट ही नहीं है. सो इन दैट सेंस अगेन योर इंटरफेस इज फास्टर. So is it clear, Didiman? Can we move to the implementation of interfaces now? Okay, so class, now what you can do, I'll give you one job for you. Okay, आज ही मैं next lecture में आपको पूछूंगी. You need to learn, you need to learn, रटना नहीं है, आपको पढ़ना है और सीखना है the difference between interface एंड एन एब्स्ट्रैक्ट. एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट और एक इंटरफेस में क्या डिफरेंस है, एटलीस्ट 6-7 डिफरेंस पॉइंट आपको सीखना है, लर्न करना है. ओके, दैट विल हेल्प यू. Okay, so now there is different types of interfaces. It is much similar to your inheritance, much similar to inheritance. So for that I am just going to give you the different types of interface. I'm not going to explain why, because the explanation is much similar to your inheritance. Okay, so now I have your, I think the first type of interface is your, and there are different, actually I should say there are different ways of implementing your interface. Okay, one is your, this is my A. For interface, I'm going to use the initial I. Okay, so I have interface A. Okay, so now if I have now for class, I'm going to use the keyword C. So now if I have C, so now class A, sorry, I have interface A. If it is using a class like interface A, then interface can never extend. Okay, so it can implement, it will implement that class, implements. So it is like, it will be like implementation. Class A is an implement, sorry, interface A. Okay, interface A will have some implementation of class B. Okay, so now class to class, we already know if it is class to class. Okay, let me write down here D. Then we know that if it's a class, then it will extend. Okay, then it will extend. If it's a class, it will extend. Okay, now here what happens is, if you have implementation, sorry, interface I. Okay, now listen carefully. Now if you have an interface I, so I have interface D. Now another is also, if it's an interface, let me write down F. In this case, if both of them are interface, okay, listen carefully, अगर दोनों interface है, in this case it will extend, क्योंकि one interface cannot implement another interface. एक interface दूसरे interface को implement भी नहीं करा सकता है. So in this case you will write down the extends. Okay, so this way there are various forms, you can explore each one on your end. So let's write down one code to understand it better. So before I dig into the programming part, do you have any queries? If none, write down none. Hello? আমার ফোন আসছে না মেরে মা? Okay. So now, okay, so class, the first code, I'm not going to invest much time in the first code. I'll just write down the code. If there is any query, okay, मैं explain करके time waste नहीं करूँगी in the first code. If there is any query while I write the code, you ask me. Otherwise, I'll assume it's understood by you guys. Okay, क्योंकि for me it's simple. I just want to show you how different interface we can implement different interface. In second, I'm going to emphasize or explain to you the second code, because there we do the actual multiple inheritance. Here I'm just showing you how we can use interface. Interface actually banaya, how do we write interface, how do we what do we say, execute interface like this. But the purpose of interface is to implement multiple inheritance. But in this example, multiple inheritance is not there. It only highlights how to create, execute multiple interfaces. सिर्फ interface को कैसे होता है वो है. So if you have any doubt, ask me. Otherwise, I'm not going to explain. Okay. So let me write down in small letter. Are So I create an interface here. I name it area. So I have here my final static float value, that is pi. Okay, so pi I'm declaring is at 3.14 f. That means it's a float. Okay, so I have here one more method, calcu. Okay, so with this I'll be calculating. So here I'm declaring it as, let me declare here, I have, let us say, float x, float y. Okay. So now I'm just closing it because it's an interface. So now if it's an interface, this method, see here I have not declared it as abstract. मैंने इसको abstract नहीं किया है, but still it does not have body. Why? Because in interface, methods cannot have their body. Methods are terminated. फ्लोट एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. बाय नेचर इट इज एब्स्ट्रैक्ट. ये खुद ही एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हो जाता है. इट विल not have any, you cannot do sum is equals to a plus b. No, you cannot do anything in interface. It is just declaration, no implement, no execution here. Okay, so I have here class. So now let me create a shape. Now I do here implements area. Now see here, this area is an interface. I've created a class here, class rectangle. So now I need to override this. यहाँ पे कुछ हुआ नहीं है. So I write here class rectangle implements area. Why I write implements here? Because area is an interface, not a class. If area was a class, I would write class rectangle extends area. Okay. So now what do? I execute this calculator function. Okay. So now I have here float calcu. Float calcu, what is it doing? It is reading two variables, float x and float y. Okay, so let me return x into y. Let me close this down. So this class is successful. So let me close this class only. Okay, so now this class is over. Okay, so now let me create one more class. Let me try to class fit होगा नहीं. So let me do it here. Okay, let's go for black. Okay, so let me create one more class named circle. Now again it implements area. I don't have any space, so I'm going to use that same line. Okay, class circle implements area. So again, I have float calcu. It reads float x and float y. Okay, it reads float x and float y. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to return. For space, I'm doing that. I'm going to return. Let me say this is because circle. Okay, so this is rectangle. So we know that length into breadth is rectangle. Circle is area of circle pi r square. So I write down here pi into r into r. Okay, अच्छा मैंने r तो दिया ही नहीं है ना, so I have to mention here x radius pi r square. So what do I do here? Pi into x into x. Okay, so मैंने ये x use कर दिया एक ही चीज. Why? Circle has only one value, that is the first value is being considered as radius, so I have here x into x. So now I close this method, I close the class. Henceforth, I have one interface, two class implementing interfaces in their own ways. Okay, so let us execute this code now. Okay, so now class sample public static void main string argf. Okay, so now what do? I create an object. I cannot create an object of area. Okay, मैं area का तो obvious है, object create ही नहीं कर सकते. To execute it, I create an object of rectangle. To execute this, I create an object of circle. Okay, so I do here rectangle r equals to new rectangle. If there is anything you don't understand, ask me. I create an object for the circle is equals to new circle. Now what I've done, I've created a class. Why? To execute the interface, the class that I've created before. Okay, because this is an interface, obviously it cannot be executed on its own. To execute it, we need an object of other classes. So I have two classes to execute here, this calculator. So I've created an object of this class, I've created an object of this class in the main class. So rectangle R, circle C. यहाँ तक तो simple है. Okay, यहाँ तक simple है. So what do I do now? Now this main function is in interface. Okay, so अब इसका हम क्या करेंगे? इसका हम एक area a यूज हुआ है नहीं, a यूज नहीं हुआ, तो area a करके मैं let us do a1, इसको छोड़ देती हूँ यहाँ पे. This is what I do. Okay, or what you can do, let us do here this one. So now in this object a1, I assign the object of this one r. Okay, I've created an object. We do not call it object, we say interface part or interface object. We बोल दो, it's okay call, but you cannot just say object, you have to call it as an interface object. Okay, an interface object a1 has been created. Okay, so this a1 to this a1, see earlier what we did was for the abstract class, if this was abstract area, we did area a equals to new rectangle. Okay, लेकिन हम यहाँ पे object to object कर रहे हैं यहाँ. Okay, so I have for area a1 here this fully fledged initialized object, because this cannot be initialized on its own. A initialized object is provoking your initial interface object here. Okay, so I did here A1. Similarly, I will do it for your this one circle. Okay, so I do here A1 equals to C. Okay, now here again area A1 area का जो object है interface object is referring to rectangle object. Interface इसका object. Now the object of this interface is referring to the object of this one. Again, the object of this one with this line, the object of this one is referring to the object of this class. If you have queries, unmute yourself and ask me. Okay, I'm trying to go slow. So let us execute now. System.out.println. The area of rectangle is plus A1 dot CAL CU. Calculating दो float डाल दो 2.3 3.5. Okay, so we are done. System.out.println. The area of the circle is or equals to plus A1 dot CALCU calculator. So here I do 10 because it is reading two values. I have to pass two values 10, 0. So it will do pi, that is here 3.14 into 10 into 10. So it will give this output. So I close it. Look at the code. If there is any doubt, you ask me. Clear? Class, is it clear? Interface, how to create interface, how to execute interface. Can we move towards multiple interface now? Multiple inheritance. Clear till now. Thank you, Rajesh. At least I need two more clear. Okay. Thank you, Shivangi. Thank you, Subhash. Okay. So now let's move towards multiple inheritance. Okay, this code you can get it from Balaguru Swami. I'm getting this code from book only, the Balaguru Swami ka. So now multiple inheritance, okay, with the help of interface. Multiple, abhi to hum single level in multi-level interface you can say, or single level interface you can say. Lekin ab in actual we are going to do multiple inheritance. Okay. For the basic part, I will not explain. Okay. So now I have your class student. Okay. So I have a class student here. I have integer roll number. Okay. I'm going slow again. Void get number. Okay. Void get number. Sorry. Integer and get the number. Okay. So now roll number is equals to, and till here everybody knows that the now we've got the number. Now we'll store the number void. Again, I'm getting this code from the book Bala Swami, so you can refer from there. Void put number. Okay, so now I have system dot out dot println roll number is class roll number. Okay, close the method, close the class. So here we have created a class. There is a simple variable named roll number. Okay, so from user we are getting the roll number. From user we are getting the roll number. We are storing it in the variable roll number. After that, with the help of another method, whatever user is giving, we are displaying it. So one, to get the number from the user, another method to display whatever content we have received from the student. Okay, so now this is your one class. So let me write down one more class here. Class test extends now your class student. यहाँ पे we have performed simple inheritance. Okay, simple inheritance. So float में I have okay system.out.println. You have here the obtained marks are. The marks obtained here है वो. You have displayed that. Okay. Now let's display the first marks.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Your screen.
screen is not visible, ma'am.
Screen is not visible. Okay. हाँ क्या हो गया? स्क्रीन शेयर होना बंद कैसे हो गया? It's visible now. Okay.
Yes,
Till
ma'am.
here it's clear. Till here, or should I explain any line once again? It's simple. दो क्लास बनाया है. First class we have read the roll number. We have displayed it. Second class we are trying to read two marks for two subjects for each student, and we are trying to display the same. Okay. First we are displaying the obtained marks are करके हम marks 1 और marks 2 दिखाएंगे. Okay. Mark in Java is. Mark in Java is, so plus I do part 1. mark in computer network is class part 2. Okay, so I've asked two marks for two subjects from the student, Java and computer network. I've displayed the same. Okay, till here. So now what do I do? आप यहाँ पे जो पुट मार्क्स है इसको मैं ये जो मेथड है उसको मैं क्लोज कर देती हूँ और अब इस जो क्लास है उसको भी क्लोज कर देती हूँ. So again I'll repeat. In the first class I have two classes here till now. In the first class I've asked roll number from the student. I've displayed the roll number to the student, just like in result. First of all, when you fill the form online for exam, you fill your roll number, subjects, what all this and that, you pay the fees. So when result comes, your name, your subject name is there in the result. So you just consider that. Okay. So this is before exam, you have been asked your roll number, your marks, the subject ka naam hai, all that. So in the first class, we are displaying the roll number. In the second class, we are displaying the marks. Okay. So here we have finished with the two classes. So let us say you also do NSC, NCSC, NSS program. For that also some marks is there. Okay. So let us create now. Okay, so Lekhika. So let us create now an interface called sports. Okay, अब आपका एक interface बना दिया sports. So because now I have here limited space, so I'm going to write in the same space. Okay, so I have here interface sports. So let us say for sport there is some mark for float. Sports में कुछ weight दिया गया है. Let us say it is your 6. Okay, 6.0 float value आपको sports के लिए marks assign कर दिया. So now because it's an interface, I cannot have the body for the method. So now I need to put this weight in this marks here. Students have got, let us say 20 in Java, 30 in computer network, and the same student has been given 6 as the sports weight. So now this has to be put in here, but we cannot do that with the help of interface. So we just declared the put method. Okay, so we just declare the put method and we leave it. So now this interface is done here. Okay, so this interface is done. Is it clear till here? यहाँ तक clear होगा. So let me use this part of the board. So that I'll be able to use it this much. So I'm going to delete this one. Okay, so I'll have bit more part of the board. थोड़ा यहाँ पे network part 2. So see here, till now I have two classes and one interface. One class reads the details of the student, another class reads the marks value of the student, because a student may participate in one of the sports. So they have been assigned some, this is sports school time, we used to have some project values and all, and yes, sports weight is given here. Okay, so now, okay, so now let us try to accumulate all this. Okay, so for that I have here now, pay attention to this line. Okay, now we are doing multiple inheritance. That means we will have now more than one base class. So now I have here, I want to display the result. Now this result need to accumulate the marks from this class and also from this interface. यहाँ से और यहाँ से दोनों से निकलना है रिजल्ट में. So we need two base class now. This is a base class, this is a base class. We need to inherit the property from here and from here as well. Okay. So I have here now class results. One is class. So I write here extends. So what is the name of the class? The name of the class is test. Okay. So now class results extend test. But also marks is here. The marks from spots is here. So now test. Okay. Now, but in this case, the spots is not a class. It's an interface. So how do I do more than one base class? Class results extends test implements spots. So now in this line, I have multiple inheritance with the help of interface. This is, if you see here, test is the name of a class. Now class will implement, sorry, यहाँ पे होगा SPORTS, spots. Okay, so this class is implementing this interface. So this class result is a base class. There is one base class with two parent class, test and spots. Okay, so now float total. This is main. Now again going to just write the simple lines. Whenever any different comes in, I'll explain. So let's do public void. Here I had put weight. I'll have to execute this. Okay, public void put weight. Okay, so system.out.println. Okay, for weight given to scores. Plus data. See here, spot weight. Okay, spot weight. So plus spot weight. So I've displayed it because it's an interface. See here, it's an interface. This method is belong to this interface, so we have to execute it. Okay, so that is what we have done here. Okay, SOP. So now this method closes here. So let's display it. Void display. Okay, so now what is the total marks? Now total marks is part 1 marks, part 2 marks plus spot weight marks given to spots. So this is my total marks. Okay, so now with this, what do I do here? Along with this spots mark, I need to display this roll number. Okay, see here, put number me, I'm displaying roll number in this method, and then in this put mark, in this put number, I'm displaying roll number. In this put marks, I'm displaying all this. See here, I'm displaying all the marks related information. And then in here, put weight, I'm displaying the spots weight. So now this I've created one more object. Now in this portion, I will display all the details. So what do? I simply call all the name of the methods. What was the name? Put number, put marks. No? Okay. So I do here put, I call the put number method. So it will get executed here. That means the roll number will be displayed. Now put marks, all the marks will be displayed. Put marks, all the marks will be displayed. If I'll do put weight, even the spots marks will be displayed. Put weight, the spots marks will be displayed. Okay, so at the end, let me write down here, I've calculated the total score. Okay, so system.out.println the total score is. So I have stored the total score. I have scored the total score in total key, variable. So I write down here total. Okay, so I write down here total. So now I have closed this class. I hope it's understood. I've created one class. So earlier, see here, again I'll repeat. First class, I read the roll number, I displayed the roll number. Second class, I read the marks, I displayed the marks detail. Third class, extracurricular activity, the student is given some marks in that. So I have created a class here. So now a base class which is inheriting the property from two parent class. First, where I am reading the roll number. Okay, so where I am reading नहीं क्या था नहीं सिर्फ spots because पहले ही extend हो चुका है ना. Yes, test has already extended student, so I did not do student later. If I'll do test, if I'll do class result extend test, that means student also gets extended. Okay, so class result extends test, implement spot. So multiple inheritance, one base class, multiple parent class. Okay, so now here I have to calculate the total marks from the marks and from the spots. So this is in the first class, this is in the second class, this is in the third class. I have displayed all the details. Okay, so with multiple inheritance. If multiple inheritance, the concept of interface was not there, I cannot do exchange spots. So again, Rajesh ka jo question tha, what is the purpose? See here, if I have multiple classes with the help of interface, I can implement that. Okay, so now let's execute this entire code. Let us execute this. यहाँ पे space की कमी हो रही है. It may look a bit ugly. Okay, so थोड़ा ugly दिखेगा, but here I will try to manage. I'll try to manage. Okay. So now I have my favorite class sample to execute everything. I have public static void main. Okay, I have a public static void main. So now here I have the result class. So here I have the result class. So I create an object of the result class. Okay, result R1 equals to new results. So results R1 is equals to new results. So now with R1 dot here, and from what all method I'm asking the values from the user from get number. Remember, from get number it reads one value. Okay, so get marks it is asking for three values. So there are two methods. There are two methods that are asking values from the user. Finally, with this display method I'm displaying. So with this R1 I have three methods to execute. Okay, so R1 dot get number, it is the roll number. So pass the roll number. I think integer hoga. So let me give like 2000. Your this is 2021. Your third semester second year 20. So your admission is 2020. Let us say 01 roll number. Okay. So let me write down 2020 roll number 1. Okay. So get number. So now I have here R1. What was the name of the other method? Get marks. This number, the n was capital, so number. So now I have here get marks. Okay, so there are, I think, 3 marks in float number tha. So let me write down 20.0 float value, 30.5 float value. You need not do FF because you will do runtime program. No, for me it's compile time. That's what I'm writing. For you it's runtime, so you need not do FFF. 2 marks. So okay, so there were only 2 marks. So we are done. So now I have this display method here. So I do here r1 dot display. So with this we have completed the program. Okay. So now we will give the sample method. में what happens? It will ask the phone number. It will go to that method. It will ask this value. It will go to that method, and then finally this will be called. So roll number will get here from get number. It will be stored in roll number. Marks will get here. It will be stored in part 1, and then we have done the calculation here. We have done the calculation here. So when r1 dot display, this method is called. All the 3 values are stored in total, and with put number, put marks, put weight, all this will be displayed as the output. So this is the interface. There are different types of interface. Single level you can do, multi-level, multiple inheritance you can do. You can do interface with interface. Here I've done class with interface. So now for this particular, to display the result only, I'll give you one aim to display the result only. You will do that same aim in different way with interface, interface, class, interface, class, like that. Same aim you will implement it different versions of using different versions of interfaces. Okay. So class is interface clear. Multiple interface, is it clear? Okay. Okay. So now take your, what is happening? Okay. So now मैम यहाँ पे इंटरफेस का ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों नहीं बनाया? कहाँ पे? ये वाला इंटरफेस का, इस इंटरफेस का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. See here, इसका जो स्पॉट्स का वैल्यू था हमने डायरेक्टली यहाँ पे यूज कर लिया है. और जो ये मेथड था, see here, ये जो मेथड था, this method is being used here. So when we are creating an object of this one, see the result is extending test and it is implementing this interface already. इस इंटरफेस को डायरेक्टली इम्प्लीमेंट हो रहा है. So इसमें अभी कुछ ऐसा बचा ही नहीं है for which we need to execute this one. All of this has been already executed in here. So there was no need, जरूरत नहीं था, इसलिए नहीं बनाया. जैसे previous example में there was a need. Okay, so previous example में सारे हमारे उस इंटरफेस को ही डाल रहे थे in all the classes. If you will look at that program, you can see that we had created one interface. That interface was implemented by all the classes. सारे class के पास वो interface था. So we needed to create an object of the interface because base वाला ही हमारा interface था. But here base is not the interface. यहाँ पे हमारा interface इतना कुछ खास कर ही नहीं रहा है. And all the values of this has been read and executed by this result here. So we need not. इसका क्रिएट किया, सॉरी ये रिजल्ट का हमने डायरेक्टली ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट किया, तो वी आर डन. वी डिड नॉट नीड इट, जरूरत नहीं था. इज इट क्लियर राम? वहां पे सारे ऑब्जेक्ट ने उस इंटरफेस को एक्सटेंड किया था, यहाँ पे सारे क्लास ने नहीं किया है. ओके. So class, should we stop here or can we start with your exception handling? Can we start with the next topic or should we stop here for today? Class, should we stop or can we proceed? Okay. Then class, I'm thinking that on today is Thursday. We do not have class tomorrow, na? So we have class on Saturday. I think 1 घंटे का class है 12 से 1. So I was thinking to take class from 11 to 1. 2 घंटा लेना चाहती थी. Are you guys free from 11 to 12? Is your 11 to 12 slot free on Saturday? Shivam, you can talk to me. Exam होगा तो
No,
कोई.
ma'am.
It's not free, Shivam. 11 to 12 we have exam.
No, ma'am.
We have session. Okay then. Then we'll start from 12 and then we'll go till 2. Is it okay? 12 to 2? 12 to आपका एग्जाम खत्म होके इधर उधर करते करते it will be I think like 12:10,
Okay, ma'am.
12:15. Then we will go. Okay. Okay. 2 घंटे में थोड़ा अच्छे से टॉपिक कवर होता है. 1 घंटे में ये प्रोग्रामिंग है ना तो फिर जल्दी जल्दी होगी. Okay. Thank you everyone. This is it for today's lecture. We'll see in the next lecture. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
ma'am.